Hey, what's going on, travelers? It's Ricky Venters and Marlon Madden, and we're here with the Success Journey Show. But we got something special for you today. What we got?
Yes, we do, Rick.
Yes, sir.
We're down here in Huntington Beach in California at Punishment Athletics.
Punishment Athletics.
And if you don't know who owns Punishment Athletic, tell them, Rick.
Tito Ortiz. Yeah, guys, we have the phenomenal opportunity to sit down with him in his office and just talk to him about his life, about his journey. And we know that you guys are going to be blessed by his story.
Hey, check it out. I know you used to us being on the audio, but we got some video too. So if you listen to this on the podcast and you want to see it, all you have to do is go to YouTube and go to The Success Journey Show on YouTube, and you can pick this up.
That's right. Guys, you do not want to miss this episode. Sit down, get ready to embrace this thing, and have a good time. We love you guys. We'll see you guys in a minute.
One love.
Peace.
Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, travelers? It's Ricky Venters and Marlon Madden, and we got a special edition for you today. As you can see, we have none other than Tito Ortiz here with us today, and we're going to dive into his story to hear a little bit more behind the scenes. You've seen him fighting. You've seen a little bit of his life. If you read his book, you've seen a little bit, but we're going to dive a little bit more. So we're so honored to be sitting here with you today, man.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate
learn a little bit more about you.
Right on. Sounds good, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, before we get into the story, what I want to do is everybody knows Marine, right? I personally want to thank Mr. Ortiz, Tito, because he always shows the troops love. And I'm not talking about just in the States. I'm talking about he'll go overseas where the fight is and still go to these guys and shake their hands and say hello and show them the appreciation that he has. So, hey, definitely, I want to thank you.
No, of course, man.
From the bottom of my heart.
To give back. That's what I always thought. You know, I've never been a huge supporter of the troops. I never understood what was really going on, what the fight was for. And as years went by, further and further, 2001, when we had the Twin Towers fall, and to see how fast Americans are willing to step up to fight for our country.
Correct. Yeah.
2005 was my first time going to Iraq, thanks to USO. Gave me an opportunity to go there to speak with some troops. And we go to chow hall, and of course the USO have their little group where they go and eat chow. And I was like, hey, it's okay if I go, it's cool if I go sit with the rest of the guys over there. Some of the troops are like, you want to go do that? I go, yeah. So I grabbed my tray, sat down right in the middle of all of them. You know, younger kids, 18, 19, 20. And they're just sitting their head down, eating. A couple of them have a conversation. And one of them looks over and looks at me. Took a second take. He was like, wait a second. You're Tito Ortiz, huh? I go, yeah. He goes, what the hell are you doing here? I came here to see you guys, man. I came here to support you guys. And, ever since then, 2005, I went 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. I either went in the summertime or Christmas time, and I always went to visit our troops. And I had some great experiences, flying on Blackhawks, got to shoot almost every single weapon there was. I got to meet some special op guys. They took me on some cool little small journeys I probably shouldn't have been on at the time. They kind of just say, keep it a little low here. Don't tell anybody about this. You get a little special treatment. But it was good. It was an opportunity to get back. And now that I've seen that as first form of knowing that being able to give back to our troops, I've never stopped. Yeah. Every time I walk out with the American flag, Mexican flag on the other side, of course, my heritage being Mexican descent. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I'm an American.
Yes.
And I really want to do what's possibly greatest thing I can do as a civilian. I didn't get an opportunity to serve because I became a world champion at the age of 23 years old. I never really understood, like I said, I never understood the troop side of it, or the being in the Army, being in the Marines. And I'm 44 years old now. I just found out this year that my father actually served 9 years as an army in the Army, and I never even knew that.
Oh wow!
Me and my father never really close, but I never knew that. My mother told me that, and I took a step back, and so I go, now I see where inspiration comes from.
I can tell you, for the troops, I'll tell you on the troop side, when we're over there, it's almost the days you lose. The days, you lose the weeks, and you're just going, and this mission is the most important thing. Right. And then when you see Tito Ortiz stepped down and you're willing to go into chow hall and sit down with these guys and eat with these guys, it lifts their spirits. I'm gonna tell you.
And I know there's another aspect that I seen when I went there, and that's what made me keep going back more and more and more. Where I'd have 1,000 to 2,000 troops just in one hall and be able to sit down and talk with them, and tell them where I came from, and tell them how I worked so hard to become a world champion in mixed martial arts and do these different things. But for that 30 minutes or that hour that I had time with them, they forgot where they were.
Yeah.
They thought they were back at home.
Yeah.
And when it was all over and get to shake hands and take pictures with them, and 6, 7 years, 8 years go by, and all of a sudden, I get someone on direct messages on my Instagram saying, Tito, I remember you came out and seen me in 2006, 2008. And guys like that, they don't forget that. And every time I went to go serve, or excuse me, I went to go visit, I went to Walter Reed and Bethesda Hospital in Washington, and got to see the guys who came back banged up. And the first time I went to do that in 2005, it scared me. I was just like going, what did I get myself into? I see guys with missing legs, missing arms, missing legs and arms, getting hit by IEDs.
Yes.
And they're going, as soon as I get fixed, I'm going back and helping my brothers and sisters. I was like, that's some true heart. That's some true respect for our country, and willing to do that, sacrifice their lives. Not only sacrifice their lives, but sacrifice the time away from their family to defend our country and do the right thing. And I just, it made me just say, wow, because every year that I did go back, I had to go to Walter Reed and Bethesda, and I wanted to after that. I was like, I want to go back and see. 3 years later, I went back and I seen a guy, James, and he's like, Tito! Running down through the hall. And he comes up, and he was missing a leg at the time, and he goes, they gave me a prosthetic. I'm good to walk now. And he was like, man, I remember the first time you came to see me. It's been a while, but I'm good now. I'm getting out tomorrow. I can't believe you're here. But it's just a great opportunity to give back. As a civilian, I want to give back as much as possible. And I think Americans here should spend their time to give back to the troops that fight for our country. And I can't thank them enough for the things they do. And like I say, every time I'm in an airport, restaurant, wherever I am, and I see anybody with fatigues at all, I walk up to them and say, thank you for your support, sir. I appreciate it. And down in my heart, man, I appreciate it and I respect it.
Hey, man, we respect that you do that for us. And what we did, we got you a little something. I know you have a lot of shirts.
Yeah, I have a clothing company, but it's only my fight wear stuff. So
yeah. So we got you a shirt for you and your two boys.
Oh,
yeah. We got a shirt for you and your two boys.
All right,
man. USMC, United States Marine Corps.
Yes, sir. That's cool. My boys are gonna flip. My boys are, because they all want to. They're like, Dad, can we come be Marines, please? We'll talk about that. Wow.
Yeah, that one's for you, Rashad. You want to come over here, buddy?
Yep. Pain is mere weakness leaving the body. I've been through this my whole wrestling career.
Yeah,
because there's times of cutting weight, and there's times of not being able to eat. There's times I had to sacrifice and make the weight. And I remember just sweating in the room and just going, I can get this last pound off. And I mean, till now, 22 years of competition in mixed martial arts, and I still do the same stuff. But pain is merely weakness leaving the body.
Yeah, tell us about that, man. Because my weight has gone up and down. I see wrestlers that they've always been disciplined and have that ability to be like, you know what? I got to lose like 10 pounds. I got to lose 15 pounds in a certain amount of time frame. And you got people out there that have been trying to lose weight, and it takes them years to get 2, 4, 5 pounds off. Like, what does that discipline look like to even get into a shape to fit within the classification, a weight class or whatever?
Well, I think the cut in general is just water weight. It's not really fat that's coming off, just because I train my body so hard to get to that. I'm doing 3 miles a day, 6 days a week, weight training, boxing, wrestling. So my body's in the prime shape as possibly can be. When it's time to make the weight, I have 3 days. 3 days to cut 18 to 20 pounds. And it's pure water weight. So it's just like getting a sponge.
I knew it was 20 pounds of water.
Yeah. So I get the sponge and I squeeze the sponge out and get all the water out of it.
Yeah.
No, that's my body after I cut the weight. Now, as soon as I make the weight, it's like throwing that sponge back in a bucket of water, and it soaks it all up. Yeah. I go from 225 down to 205 in 3 days. And then right as soon as I make the weight, probably about 6 hours later, I'm 225 on the dot.
Wow.
Right on the dot.
Wow.
And I mean, I have it down to a science the way I do it. I make sure I eat every night. I drink a little bit every night. I just cut my portions smaller and smaller and smaller. The rashes get smaller and smaller just until I make the weight. And once I make the weight, then it's time to pack it back on. And I'm in fight shape, and it's ready to go to war.
That's good. So tell the listeners, a lot of people, they see people, celebrities, they see them in the main light, they see a winning fight, celebrating, all that different stuff. And they're like, oh, I want to do that one day. I aspire to do that. But they don't really get the chance to see like the backstory. Tell us first, what kind of drove you to get into wrestling first when you were younger? And then also, I'm not gonna go that far yet. Start there first. Yeah.
Getting into wrestling, I was a huge fan of WWF, which is WWE now. And I watch, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Randy Savage, Junkyard Dog, and those guys who I kind of looked up to as a kid. I mean, all the other kids go play on playground, go play with their friends outside, and I was in the house sitting down watching wrestling. I was like, Mom, one day you're gonna see big bright lights saying Tito Ortiz, so I'm gonna be a wrestler just like that. And I didn't realize between professional wrestling and amateur wrestling, as you'd see in the Olympics in high school or college, I never understood the difference until high school came around as a freshman. One of the guys who wrestled, and I was always getting in fights. I mean, I was always one of the little bolder kids who, bullied other guys and so forth. They say, hey man, why'd you come in the wrestling room? Kind of see what it's about. So I walked in the wrestling room and I looked around, I was like, where's the ring at? They started laughing. All of them started laughing. They're like, what do you mean, where's the ring at?
So you want to bounce off the ropes?
Where's the ropes and the ring and everything? They're like, no, Tito, this is a totally different sport. This is collegiate wrestling. And so this stuff's real. He goes, that stuff's fake. I go, no, it ain't fake. You watch those guys, they're bleeding and everything. That ain't fake. They're like, no, this is the real stuff. And, and I was like, all right, so you could slam them though, right? And so, well, if you can't slam them, you can slam them. I was like, okay. So, my first year as a freshman, I really got into it. It was just, I got better and better the harder I worked. One of the coaches pulled me aside and said, kid, you got a little future to this. You have the will to have the hard work to push through things. This is this is the hardest sport in the world you could ever compete in because it's a one-on-one competition. You don't have your teammate. It's not like in basketball or football where you have your quarterback and you have your lineman protecting you at all times. This is you against another man, plain and simple. And I love that. I understood that. I wanted to do that just because if I made a mistake, I made the mistake and I could correct my mistake. My true name is Jacob. In the Bible, Jacob wrestled against an angel. And the angel beat him and saved his life. I was a kid who came up with a really bad upbringing. Due to my parents, they didn't know any different as being parents of showing their right way for a child. But either I found wrestling or wrestling found me. And it saved my life. It changed me completely. It showed me what hard work was. It showed me dedication. It showed me the sacrifices to become a better person, not only in the wrestling room, but in school in general, because I had to have a certain grade point average to stay in wrestling. And my freshman year, I was already on varsity. By, I think, the fifth month, by the time Christmas came around, I got an opportunity to wrestle for the varsity spot, and I won the varsity spot. And I was like, all this hard work, it paid off. I really paid attention to the details. I really paid attention to the sacrifices and the hard work of it, and I think it all paid off.
So when you say hard work, define hard work, because I have one of my sons, he's 10 years old next week, and he's working on his instrument, and he feels hard work is practicing a song one time, because it's hard for him.
Well, this is what they call is repetition.
Repetition is,
and it's not, they say practice makes perfect. No, it's perfect practice makes perfect. And if you can repetition it so many times where it becomes memory and becomes an instinct, that's when you know you got it right. And that's how wrestling was. We'd have our wrestling practice. It would be a 2-hour practice, grueling. The walls would be sweating. The mats would be completely drenched in sweat from all of us pushing ourselves so hard. And then when it was over, I would grab my partner and say, let's drill some more. And I'd sit there and drill high crotches, double legs, single legs, pins, cradles, top position, bottom position, getting out. And it would be an extra 45 minutes that I would spend, and the coach would look at me and be like, that kid right there, he's going to do something himself. And I would hear him say that, and it would pump me up. It would pump me up. I wanted to do more. I wanted to better myself because I was like, okay, coach is paying attention to me. And as a kid growing up, no one ever paid attention to me. My mother and father, they had a drug problem from the age of 6 to 13. My mother and father were addicted to heroin. I lived in motels. I lived in trailers, other people's garages. I really didn't have that great of an upbringing, but my mother seen, I came to her, one of my friends, because I was in a gang at the time, and one of my friends got shot and killed. And I told my mom about it. And mom was like, oh yeah, she didn't believe me. And she really seen what truly happened. And she told my father, either you get sober or I'm taking your son away. And about a week later, my mother wakes me up and said, Tito, get up. I'm like, what, Mom? She's like, we're leaving. I'm like, what do you mean we're leaving? We're leaving. So I ended up packing up and left. She got remarried. We moved back to Huntington Beach. And I got a second chance at life. My mother took a huge sacrifice of leaving my father after being with him for 14 years. You know, I was only 13 at the time. So for a woman to do that, that was a huge sacrifice. I mean, that shows that she wanted better for her child. And she did. She made that happen. And I've always kept that close to my heart. And I'm thankful for my mom making that sacrifice because not many women would have done that. And she was strong enough to understand what was around my environment and to give me something that was a second chance at life. And I was thankful for it.
So I know in your book, you talked about how, and I love how you talked about how Jacob fought with the angel, or wrestled with the angel. And wrestling kind of saved you because in your book, you talk about when one of your friends, he called you up and he said, hey, come on, man, I'm going to go down here. We're going to do some things. It'll be quick. And you're like, listen, man, I can't go.
Yeah, so this happened in my junior year. Two of my friends, Nacho and Ricky, both of them are actually out of prison now. And both of them actually gave me a call and they said, hey, Tito, why don't you come down with us? We're going to make this drop. And it was for the Mexican mafia at the time. And they're like, yeah, we're going to make this drop and you can make $300. And I was like, $300? I was like, that's a lot of money. I mean, at the time, it was a lot of money as a kid coming up. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. I was like, you know what? It was a Thursday night. I was like, you know what? Tomorrow morning, I got to make weight. I can't do it. I got to make sure I got to show up for my team and, you know, for myself. And I can't do it. Come on, man, come. I was like, I can't do it, man. So I didn't go. Day goes by and Friday morning goes by. I make weight. I wrestle. I do well. Next day, I go for the second day tournament. And I get a call from his sister and saying that they both got arrested. And they ended up both doing 25 years. One of them did 20. He got out. He moved down to Ensenada. He was a close friend of mine still. And the other one just got out about 3 years ago. I think he did 26 years. And I could have been one of those guys. I made a chance, or I took a chance of making a better choice in wrestling, guiding me that direction, a right direction of making a good sacrifice, which could have changed my life completely. Could have never been a Tito Ortiz. I could have never been where I am right now. But just by one choice that I made for the rest of my life, and that was a great choice I made, and it was due because of wrestling. It saved my life. It was crazy.
Yes. Now, a lot of people, especially celebrities, they want people to kind of know their backstory, but they don't want people to know their full backstory. And what I appreciate in your book is that you put it out there to let people know, listen, this is where I'm from, and this is where I am now. You can do it too. And I thought that was a testament of your character. You know,
character is a great example of word to describing is I have been a character through my career of fighting, but I'm an average person. I'm just like anybody else. I bleed the same way. I cry the same way. I have the same feelings. I'm not a celebrity. I'm a person who works hard. I'm an American who works hard, and being able to show people what hard work can really achieve from. And I'm willing to be an open book. I don't want to hide anything. I want to be as transparent as possible to people understand that, you know, if they have troublesome times in their life and relationships or with their family or with their kids or being a kid coming up, knowing that they can be successful and knowing that with hard work will pay off. No matter what, the harder you work, it'll pay off. And not step on people to get ahead, and not trying to be a person to get over on somebody or take advantage of somebody in any money situation or any financial situation at all, to better yourself off of somebody else. Do everything on your own. That way you can look back and go, you know what? I did it with respect. I did it with honor. And I did it with integrity. And I think that really, really matters. And nowadays, a lot of that stuff is misconstrued or it's lost with family. I mean, just the fact of having respect for another person. You know, I teach my kids. I have 3 boys. My son, Jacob, who's 16 years old. My twin boys, Jesse and Journey, who are 9 years old right now. They open the door for a woman. They walk in. You know, they introduce themselves. I walk up, look right in the eyes, shake a person, shake their hand. And I make sure I teach them that. Because I think nowadays, a lot of kids miss that because they're into the computers too much, the cell phones, Xbox, tablets. They're lost into the computer world where they lose their social skills where, speaking with another person, having conversations and being respectful on a respectful level. I think just being a gentleman is very important, and it's lost nowadays. Just it's the parents' fault. So I got to blame the parents. I got to blame the parents because they look for an easy way out. To be a parent, you got to take time of teaching your child the right things, of being a gentleman, or even a young lady, of being respectful for yourself in general.
Correct.
And that's very, very important.
Correct.
Man, that's something big because, like, I didn't grow up with a mother or father. I grew up with my grandmother, and she instilled that your name, your honor, how you treat people is going to take you a far way. And I could even say that to what's happening right here, right now, because I just want to give a shout out to Sasha.
Have to give it to Sasha.
Yeah, because if for the listeners out there, let me just tell you, Sasha I went to Kuwait. I was on a special purpose MACTAF. I was over there for 9 months, and I met Sasha, and he has one of those infectious personalities. Yeah. And as soon as we met each other, we clicked. Yeah. And when he knew I was doing the podcast and everything, and he saw what I wanted to do, help Marines, help people in general, just to be understand what success is all about. He said, "Hey," and he put in a good word for me. And look what we're doing right here.
Yeah, no, success is only what you make of it, and I've been very thankful for the things that I've had, but it's through the hard work and dedication I put it through. Success doesn't come with ease. I've never been a person with a silver spoon in my mouth. Yeah. I always keep myself on the same level, the same track as everybody else. I never assume myself of being better than anybody else. And I grew up as a kid with a lot of racism, and it was crazy. It was just, I never understood it, because when I lived here in Huntington Beach from birth until 7, I was a little Mexican beaner kid, the little border jumper we call the white kids that lived here. Mm-hmm. Then when I moved to Santa Ana with all the Mexicans, all of a sudden I was the white bread. I was a little spit. I was total opposite. So I was a confused kid growing up. I never understood it. Yeah. And by the time I got into high school, I kind of understood that we're all the same people. Absolutely. It's what we have in our minds, what we have in our heart, how you're willing to treat a person is how you're going to be treated. Absolutely. Right. And so, all my group of friends that we always had a black friend, we always had a Mexican friend, we always had a white friend, we always had an Asian friend. And I always hung around that same group of people. It was never just the white guys, it was just with the black guys, or just with the Mexicans. They never get into that. I was always like, hey, what's up, brother, man? How you doing, man? And I come to realize I did that DNA testing thing where they kind of see where the background come from. Yeah. So I'm a Californian. Yeah. My grandmother, I'm a 5th generation Mexican from California. I have Spanish in me, I have Portuguese in me, I have Indian in me, I have Mexican in me, as they say. I have Hawaiian and American and Irish. So I'm a mutt. Everything. My mother was born in Hawaii. My father was born here in Santa Ana, California. My grandmother from my father's side was born in San Jose. Her family was born in San Jose. And at the end of the day, I wanted to just be an average American. I wanted to be someone who was hardworking, dedicate themselves to the job I have in front of me, and that's being a father. Someone who changed my life forever was my child, Jacob. I wanted to give him everything I never had as a kid. My mother and my father weren't really there at a young age for me, so I never really understood what love and compassion and respect and those things were. I learned those things either from a gang or from watching in a movie. Wow. It was just crazy, but I had enough wherewithal to understand those things, to understand to give respect, watching Army films and stuff and saying, yes, sir, no, sir. And even to this day, I'm 44 years old, and there's men younger than me or my same age, and someone asks me a question, I go, yes, sir. Like, you have to call me sir. I go, no, I'm just trying to show respect. Strictly respect at the end of the day. And I wish a lot of people would do that. I wish a lot of parents would do that for their children, because it shows their character. And with my kids, I say the same thing, is you're building your character right now. Yeah. Yes, they play video games only on weekends, only when they earn it. When they get good grades, they got to get A's or B's. No less than that. Anything less than that, you're not playing no games. They don't have an iPhone. 9 years old. My oldest son, Jacob, he has an iPhone, so we communicate, of course. Okay. But I want to make sure they earn these things. And I tell him, it's like, when you're playing your video game, when you build your character, how do you want your character to be? He goes, I want to be the toughest and the baddest character possible.
Yep.
Okay, let's flip this switch. How do you want to make your character as yourself?
Yeah.
Well, I want to be respected. Okay, well, the only way you're going to get respect is you show respect to other people. I think that's really important. You got to show respect to other people, because if you don't show respect, how you expect anybody to respect you? Yeah. I go, so build this character the way you want it to be, the one you want other people to perceive you to be. And they're like, all right, Daddy, we get it. So at 9 years old, then my kids already get it. They understand it. I mean, they're in a room with others, and they're sitting up. They're not going crazy. They're not fighting. They understand how to be respectful. My oldest son, Jacob, he's the same way. I'm just trying to give, like I said, everything that my father never gave for me, for my kids. I want to do these things for them. Yeah. That way, so when they look back and they'll go, my dad was there for me. My dad sacrificed everything for me. And I said, the best resemblance of yourself is your children.
Your children.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to do it the right way.
Love it. So tell me, reading through your book, and one thing that really grabbed me was when you won your first title. And there was a quote in there saying that, I may misquote it, but it was around the premise of, hey, all this hard work paid off. Yeah. Now, I know you won a lot since then, but do you remember that feeling of that day?
Yeah, I remember that day. I was in Japan and Tokyo. I fought against Vanderlei Silva. He was the number one guy in the world at the time. I was a young kid. I was only in sport for maybe a year and a half at the most. Yeah. But I was learning quick. Once again, it was that repetition. It was like doing it over and over and over, where I had the confidence of knowing that I was going to win. And I remember that belt being placed around my waist, and closed my eyes, opened my eyes, and I'm still here with the hard work pays off.
Yeah, it does.
And I always told myself, it's just, I got to work hard for whatever I want. And I got to dream high. And I can't dream low, because if I dream low, I'm cutting myself short. I got to dream high, and I got to meet those expectations of myself. And if I don't, I feel like I failed myself. And I'll keep trying, because once I fall off that horse, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to do it again and again and again and again until I master it. I want to fail, because the more I fail, the more I'm going to learn.
Correct.
And that's what I try to teach my children. I try to teach my children the same thing. Like, Dad, I got a bad grade on this one. Well, it's all right. Let's redo it. Let's do it again. Yeah. And then practice, like, Dad, I really don't get this. It's kind of hard. All right, well, let's practice. And like, all of a sudden, a month goes by, I'm like, high crotch is easy to do now, Dad. I'm like, okay, well, we mastered it. Like, that's how you master it. You do it over and over and over. Do it so much is where you dream about it. And that's how I want to do in my life. Just dream about things, to being successful and being the best person that I could be. Not only just American, just a person. A human being on this world, because I have one life. And it's short. People don't realize how short this life is that we're living. I think this year I kind of got a feeling in my heart. It's like, God, I'm getting older. Have I done the things I wanted to do? And yes, I have. And, there's two things I'll have for the rest of my life. It's my name and my word.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll never tarnish my name for anything. And I always keep my word. And I try to tell it to my children. And I think that's really, really important. I've been through so many obstacles, so many ups and downs. I mean, I've seen the peaks and highs, Mount Everest, the valleys, of almost hell. And I bounce back like no other. And I think it's just perseverance. I've learned that. I think that's a key word through my whole career of fighting, or just life in general, is perseverance. I've always been a person to go outside of trying to help people. And sometimes it hindered me by trying to help a person. My ex-girlfriend, Jen Jamison, I saw a beautiful woman that I try to help and try to fix, which I realized I couldn't fix. We ended up having twin boys, Jesse and Journey, but she didn't want to change her life. She wanted to stick to the same type of things she wanted to do, get into drugs and so forth. And I had to make the same decision that my mother made. This was, almost 6 years ago. And she was heavy into drugs and so forth. And I told her, I go, we can't do this. I mean, we have everything. I mean, I live on a house on the water. I have a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a Porsche Panamera. I have a 38-foot fountain fishing boat. I have everything. I go, we're going to lose all this stuff. You need to stop. And she wouldn't do it. So I had to make a sacrifice, the same sacrifice my mother made for me against my father. And I had to make a choice. And I got sick of living in a negative environment. Someone always telling me that I was a piece of that I wasn't worth anything, that I was a horrible father. And it was just herself reflecting herself on me. And it took me to therapy to realize this, that my therapist was like, Tito, stop trying to save your mom.
Wow.
And it hit me hard. I was like,
wow.
He goes, you need to find someone to fix you, to help you. And I did. My girlfriend, Amber Miller, we've been together now for almost 6 years. And I finally found someone to help me where I didn't have to worry about it. I come home after practice, dinner's done, bed's made, everything in the house is perfect. And babe, are you okay? Do you need anything? I've never had anybody to take care of me like that, where it was a total different world.
Yes.
Before, I was always trying to help. I was always trying to be the person to be a fixer. I want to fix. What they call it, the broken wing syndrome, where you try to fix, always try to help. And I couldn't do it. And I sacrificed a lot of things because of it. I have to sacrifice my name. There are so many things that I lost because of it. But at the end of the day, I learned so much from it, and it made me a stronger man. It made me a stronger father. I had to make the same decision my mother made, and I didn't understand until it happened. And when it happened, I looked back and I was like, wow. And my mom was like, Tito, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
You did something that it took me a long time to recognize, and it took you only 4 years to do, because I was trying to fix, man. My whole life, people always told me I couldn't do something. They told me I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, I couldn't be a world champion, I couldn't be a good wrestler, and I was beating these demons. I was beating them over and over and over, and I was accomplishing these things that no one told me that I couldn't do, and this was no difference. I was trying to fix a woman that didn't want to be fixed, and I couldn't do it. And I come to realize that I had to step away and let go of the chain. And I let go of the chain, and it wasn't bringing me down anymore. And life changed, man. Life was brighter. It was shinier outside. Everything was nicer. I woke up in the morning feeling good, and that's when I made my comeback to fight again. And I wanted to do it. I went through my surgeries. I've had 8 surgeries through my career.
Yeah, tell us about that.
We're talking earlier about those surgeries, and a lot of people look at UFC fighters, and all they see is the night you're on the TV.
That's it.
That's
all they see. They don't see the hard work.
Yeah.
So, we make some pretty decent money, not no boxer money, but decent enough money where, I live a nice life, but I'm always willing to excel myself and get other businesses. But before that is just the hard work that is put in. I'm putting in 9 weeks, 8 weeks. My last camp against Chuck Liddell was 18 weeks, 6 days a week, 3 times a day. I battled myself with just going through the grind. But prior to that, I've had 8 surgeries. I have an ACL replaced my left knee, ACL replaced my right knee, 50% of my meniscus taken out of my right knee. I've had L4-5 S1 fused in my lower back. I've had T3, T2, T2, T1, T1, C7 disc replacement. I've had C6, C7 fused. I've had C6, C5 disc replacement. I've had C4, C5 fused. I've had a reattached retina. And probably about 20 concussions. And I've taken it as a challenge. Is it a challenge from God? Is it a challenge from myself? Or is it a challenge in general? I took it as a challenge of knowing that I could still compete. I can still do these things. And I'm very thankful for my doctor, Dr. William Smith from Las Vegas, who's done all my spinal surgeries, that I've been able to bounce back the way I have. But it's just what I believe I can do.
Yeah.
If you believe you can't do it, you're not going to do it.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
You got to believe in yourself and knowing that you're able to do it. And there is challenging times where you're like, God, I can't do this, can't get out of bed. But you're able to push yourself to that limit and get over that barrier and make that stuff happen. Then you look back going, wow, it is possible. And able to bounce back quicker. But of course, have a positive environment around your life during that time of a surgery or of a hard time. If you have a positive environment around you, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yes.
And I think it's just the way the body is made. It's if you put yourself in a negative environment, your body is going to live in a negative environment.
Exactly. Yeah,
if you put yourself in a positive environment, you're going to be a positive person, and things will bounce back faster than you even realize it. Everything's the mental side of it, and it's just as humans, what we're willing to push ourselves to. If you're pushing yourself to a certain limit, you're willing to quit after that limit, then you're going to be quit for the rest of your life. If you're willing to press that limit, and you fail, but you get back up, you try it again, and then all of a sudden you succeed and go, wow, that did work.
Yeah.
Then you're doing the right things.
Man, I got a lot of respect for you because, man, I would twist my ankle or sprain my ankle, hurt my back, and I'm just like, man, I don't know if I can do it no more.
I'm taping myself up. I'm ready to go do it. I'm like, give some tape. I'll tape my own ankle.
Yeah. And even like in your book where you're talking with the retina surgery, you're like, yeah, it wasn't as bad as it looked.
And the next day when I had a detached retina, I woke up in the morning and I couldn't see. It was like black. Yeah. What happened was my right eye, because I got a pretty decent fight I got into, and blood was in my right eye, so it was completely sealed closed. And my left eye, the detached retina was completely. And I woke up and I looked around, I couldn't really see anything. I wiped the blood out of my right eye, and then I could see just a little bit. And I closed my right eye, and I opened my left. I was like, couldn't see anything. And I woke up my girlfriend, I'm like, Amber, I'm like, babe, is my eye open? She goes, yeah. I can't see anything. So I went into the bathroom. I looked in the mirror and I went like this, and I couldn't see anything at all. I closed and opened my eyes. I was like, I have a detached retina. I called my doctor, and I knew this was happening because I had a partially detached retina three weeks before the fight.
Oh man!
I went into the doctor and I asked him. I go, so what's the worst can happen? He's all, it could be completely detached, and we reattach it, and you probably have about a 90% chance of coming back, being able to see no problem at all. And I was like, okay, so what's the worst can happen? And that's it. I was like, I'm still fighting.
Here we go.
I've already been in camp already for almost 3 months. I'm not stopping. There's no stopping me. And as soon as I got that, boom, after the fight was over, and I found that out. That same day, I drove back from San Diego here to LA, went to UCI, and they did a retinal reattachment, and it took about a month to heal, and it was the worst thing I think I've ever gone through in my life, because I know every little inch and step in my whole house, because I had to keep my head down the whole time, because they fill your eye with gas to keep the retina completely attached. And then, as the weeks went on, I looked like I was looking through a glass of water, and the water would get lower and lower and lower. And I got about the month mark, and I was driving, and we were driving in a little bit of altitude, and they say you can't get over 1,000 feet of altitude. And I got to about 1,500, and then all of a sudden it just like went. It was like little dots, little clear dots everywhere. And that was that last little gas bubble dispersed completely, and then it just went away. It was gone. It was the craziest thing in the world I've ever experienced. But I could see almost 100%. There's probably about a 10 to 12 inch distance that's blurry, but after that it's perfect.
Okay, good enough for fight.
Oh, 100%. Sure. But then they say, if you have a detachment, what's the chance of a detachment during the fight? He goes, yeah, there's a chance of that happening, but are you willing to take that chance? I said, hell yeah.
Let's go.
Hey, now you talked about that physical, what you talked about with the therapist. How open were you to go to the therapist at first?
At first, it took a second to open up, because it was another guy,
Okay.
And I was looking for help, though. I wasn't going there looking for an excuse. I was in there looking for a why. I wanted the excuse. I didn't want to give an excuse. I wanted to look for an excuse why I am the person I am. Okay. Why I react the way I react. Why I do the things I do. Why I work so hard to be where I am, or why I want to try to help people so much. And there was days I would sit there and cry to him, man. And it felt like a child. I literally felt like a child, because you understand, at the age of 7 to 13, I went through so much stuff. I seen so much stuff that I probably shouldn't have seen, but I learned so much that at that age, as a kid, I probably should have never seen that stuff.
Yeah.
But it kind of made me a stronger person, I think. But at the same time, I lost all those years. And I'm kind of stuck in even now, I like to play games with my kids. I like to, I like to be a kid. I like to go out and when I see a smile on their faces, I had the same type of smile. I go, I'm still stuck in that situation. But with therapy that I understood and never explained myself, after we were done, and I think it was about 6 months I was with him, and he goes, Tito, you are one of the most bravest men I think I've ever talked to. He goes, for you to go through the things that you've gone through and to be successful the way you are, I got to give it to you.
I'm telling you.
It shows that anybody can make it happen.
Yeah.
You're a living proof of it. Yeah. I'm not like Dwayne Johnson of making crazy movies and making huge amount of money. You know what I mean? But he's a great actor and came from a great wrestling background. And I watch these guys, and these type of people who inspire me to better myself and to be a better person. And but at the end of the day, when I look in the mirror and I'm brushing my teeth, I don't got a big entourage by me saying, "Who, Tito?" It's just me.
Yeah.
And I look at myself and I said, "Have I helped someone today? Have I done something good today? Have I done something to give back to our society today?" And almost every single day, I can say, "Yes, I have." Have I bettered my children today? Yes, I have. And I always try to do things to better myself, so my children can see what type of man I truly am. And they see it, man. They see it all the time. Yeah. I catch them every once in a while, and I just see a little shine of myself in them, little small things, and puts a smile on my face.
Makes you proud.
It makes me proud.
Dad moment.
And then they come home, and he's like, "Dad, look, I got a name." He's like so happy to show me. It's like, Cool. I mean, my parents never pushed education on me at all. They said, show up to school, that's all we care about. And that's what I showed up to school, and that was it. And I paid for it now. You know, I'm horrible at grammar. I spell in horrible course in grammar, but I putting a sentence together, I'm decent. I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still processing learning.
But you're an author, man.
I'm an author.
And that book is good. I'll tell you, you're still an author.
But I mean, to tell you, I'm really good at math. You know, now it's my checkbook.
There you go.
Because at the end of the day, you know, they say money doesn't make you happy. It gets you close. It gets you close. Exactly. It makes me think about it. I mean, because I look at it in the end of the day, man. I mean, that's one of my worst fears is to be broke. Is not to be able to take care of my children. That's what scares me. And as I get older, I want to make sure that I'm able to put things away for my children. So when they are older and they still have to work for it, you know, I got a situation where they get 18, they get a certain amount of money. They get 24, they get a certain amount of money. When they get 30, they get a certain amount of money. And then when they get 40, get the rest of the money. So I got to make sure, I just want to make sure they understand that they're not sacrificing for nothing. That they really have to work for what they want. That they're not, how you say, they want deserved or they're not expect. They don't expect it. Something unexpected. That's society nowadays. Kids are expecting everything. This is the way it should be. This is what I deserve. And this way, no. You got to work for those things. You got to lead up to make those things happen. The only way to make those things happen is you got to work for it. I never expect anything as a given because nothing in life is ever a given. I mean, I thought that, you know, I'm going to start wrestling. I'm going to be a state champion. That took 6 years to happen, but it took the hard work to make those things happen. When I got into fighting, I was like, I'm going to be a world champion. It took a year and a half for that to happen, but it took hard work. I mean, I remember the days Saturday night and I had to go do my run. I would do my runs at night. And I remember running down Main Street of Huntington Beach and everybody going to the bars and stuff. And I'd be running stairs and God looking at me, man, you crazy. When you on a Saturday night running stairs, I'm like, I had a dream in my mind. I was like, I'm going to become a world champion. I want to be Muhammad Ali. I'm going to be a Hulk Hogan. I'm going to be that in mixed martial arts. That's my goal. I want to be a world champion. And like I say, the integrity that I had through my life of just hard work and dedication, knowing that I paid for what I have. I paid my time. I paid my dues. I've done everything I possibly can do to get what I have. And it has been challenging. There has been times I land in bed and I don't want to get up and go do it, but then just like I suck it up and say, you know what? If you want to be someone great, you got to get up and you got to do the work. Don't ever expect anything. Nothing is ever a given. And I've learned that through my life. I mean, I've been in mixed martial arts now for 22 years. In May 30th, it might be 22 years exact.
Wow.
I grinded and I've done it and I put in the hard work and I'm still putting in the hard work and I'm still going to the next step of doing business stuff. You know, back in 2005, I worked for Donald Trump on The Celebrity Apprentice and who Lennox Lewis was on the show, Pierce Morgan, Omarosa. I mean, there was a pretty decent group. But I was the guy that was next to Trump's shoulder asking questions. I was in the back of the green room drinking with the rest of the guys were drinking. I was sitting there and I was asking questions because I was a kid. I mean, I was 31, 32, and I was still asking questions. I want to learn. I don't ever want to set myself to a certain standard. I want to exceed that. And I asked him, I was like, how do you stay a millionaire? He go, well, Tito, you got to have 5 sources of income coming in every year. I go, what do you mean? He goes, 5 businesses every year, and that's your source of income. If you can keep those 5 sources, you will stay a millionaire. If you're able to have those 5 sources run themselves, and you start 5 other, have them run themselves, and have 5 other, because you have a chance of being a billionaire. I was like, game on.
There we go.
So in 2005, when I did that, that set a goal in my mind of making that happen. Let's fast forward this now. 13 years later. Or actually, 18 years later. 13 years later. 13 years later. I have Punished Athletics with my clothing company. I have Tito Ortiz Group, which is a wholesale car company.
I saw that,
I have Primetime 360, which is a management company. I'm just possibly starting a show, Sea Monsters with Tito Ortiz, because, I'm a huge fisherman for a television show. And a 5th one is being a promoter. So these are my 5 sources to stay a millionaire. And after these are set and these are just laid down perfect, then I'll start looking for these other 5.
That's
important. Yeah. And I'm doing the right thing as an American. You know, I look at my history and I see a lot of people give me a hard time for supporting Trump. And the reason I support Trump, because at the beginning, he's never changed his views. He's always stuck to the same. He's always been exactly the same. He wants great for our country and putting our country first. And this is, once again, I go back as a child. As a child, when I was starving, I was hungry, I'd watch commercials and they were saying, well, these kids, it would only take you $1 to give them for kids in Ethiopia and stuff. What about us kids here in the United States? What about us kids who are living on welfare, living on food stamps? I mean, having 3 pairs of pants and 3 shirts for the whole year if I was lucky. What about us kids? That's what I didn't understand. And that's what made me work hard. I worked my ass off to get where I am today because I never want to be the kid going, what about me?
You're a deep thinker, man. So you don't only think about fighting, you're thinking about 5 streams of revenue to come in to ensure that, you know, you carry that legacy, building generational wealth for your kids. You think about the country and keeping your kids safe and others safe.
Yes.
And that's what I think, that's what I know when you were working in the adult store and you came back there and the guy said, listen, Tito, this is not where you need to work at.
Yeah.
You need to go back and fight. We will give you a stipend. Yeah. Just stay out there and fight. And when people see that good person in you, they will go a far way to help you out.
Yeah, and then they kind of explain that story and people are going, what the hell are you talking about? So, you know, God, what was I, 21. No, I was 22 at the time. I just started fighting, and I used to work at an adult book store called Spanky's, and I do overtime, and I make great money, $15 an hour, 15% commission, and I fought against Frank Shamrock, and I lost to him, and I didn't understand it. I was doing a job, and I was training. I would work during the night, and I trained during the day, and my boss brought me in. He's like, Tito, we need to have a conversation. I go, yes, sir. He goes, I don't think this job's for you. I go, whoa, what are you talking about? This job? I need to pay my bills. I have an apartment. I got a cell phone. I got to pay for my food. He's like, hey, calm down. I go, no, I really need this job. He goes, let me explain myself. He goes, I watched your fight, and you could have beat that guy. He goes, I think this job is getting in your way. I go, but I need the money to pay for my rent. He's like, let me explain myself. He goes, I'm going to pay for your apartment. I'm going to pay for your food. I'm going to pay for your cell phone. Wow. He goes, I'm going to give you a little backup, but I want you to go back and win that world title because I know you can do it. Wow. And I was like, that was a blessing. That was
yes.
And this is in XXX rated film area. In the Bible, this is, I mean, you're sin. Yeah. But this is someone that's willing to give back to me.
Correct.
And he gave me a chance. Yeah. And there's been many people through my life or my career who's given me a chance. And I've been able to succeed from those things. And I'm able to tell the story to other people, of course, our listeners, that if you get a chance, take advantage of that opportunity. When that opportunity comes and you take advantage of it and you're able to show that you're a better person, that you have made yourself a better person by these things, that's living the American dream. And that's what I try to chase every single day. Yeah. And I try to show my kids that same thing every day. We got to chase that American dream. If you lose that dream, you have nothing else. You just live the life. I don't want to just live the life. I want to set dreams. I want to set goals. I want to achieve the goals and continue to do those things. And it's the team I have around me, it's the people I have around me to help me do those things. Because it is hard. It's hard to do it alone. But sometimes you can. Sometimes you can't do it alone. But it's just those times you got to look in the mirror, take that honest look at yourself and saying, are you doing right? I had that same idea before I went back when I graduated high school. And I was going before I got to college, junior college. I was working at Allied Movement Service. I got into drugs a little bit, speed with some of my friends. I was working at Movement Service. We worked 16-hour shifts. And it was probably about 9 months of it. I went to a club, a wrestling coach, Samuel. Tito? Hey, what's up, coach? He goes, you doing all right, man? I was my same height right now, 6'3". I was 185 pounds. I'm 230 right now. He goes, you don't look good. Pimples all over my face, black bags under my eyes. And he goes, you ever thought about coming back and wrestling? I was like, yeah, I would love to, but I'm on my own. I work for a moving service. He goes, you're part Mexican, right? I go, yeah. He goes, I think we can get you a Mexican scholarship, and they'll pay for your schooling, they'll pay for your books. I go, really? He Yeah, and he goes, come to my work. I'm coming to the office on Monday at school. And it's right down the street from here, Golden West Junior College.
Yeah.
And I remember that was a Saturday night, and I was part of my friends, and I woke up that stayed up all that night, Saturday, Sunday, went to bed about 1 p.m. on Sunday, right before I went to bed. I remember looking in the mirror and it scared myself. I was turning to my parents, and it scared the out of me. And I was like, here's your break. Either you make one step and for the forward of making a right decision or making the bad decisions, making it right or making the left. Yeah. And I made the right. I said, I'm not going to become my parents.
Yeah.
I called to work that morning. I said, you know what, guys, I can't come in today. They're all, well, if you don't come in, you're fired. I go, well, you know what? And the first time I ever said, and I said, I guess I quit. Yeah. I go, I gotta take a chance. I want to take a chance. I took a huge chance. Walk into the coach's office and he had a big smile on his face. He's all, can't believe you're here, man. Yeah. I don't want to be like my parents, coach. Yeah. He's all, well, what do you mean? And I explained what happened to my parents and drugs and so forth. I'm on the wrong side. Yeah. And I want to be on the right side. That's huge for you to do that. For you to recognize that, it's amazing. Yeah. And went on become a 2-time state champion at Golden West Junior College. Got my AA degree. Got a full ride to Cal State Bakersfield. Got all the way up to, my last semester to graduate. And I found into fighting. And fighting changed my whole life. You know, I wanted to be a wrestling coach and a high school teacher, but I was able to come back and be a fighter. And instead of helping 30 kids in the wrestling room, I was able to help large, vast hundreds and hundreds of thousands of kids across the United States or even across the world. You know, I see, and you know, I have fans in Japan, Australia, and England, and there's so many people that do look up to me. But I just, I'm a human being. I make mistakes. So I learn from the mistakes. But at the end of the day, I'm Tito Ortiz. I'm myself, man. Like I said, I have two things. I have my word and I have my name, and I'll have the rest of my life.
Yeah. Man, I love your story. Hey, Rick. So along with those shirts, we have 2 more shirts for you, right? I know we're giving you a plethora of shirts.
All the shirts you already have.
But this one, it embodies what you stand for. You dream. This is our shirt from our podcast. Dream, drive, discipline, and diligence. So
hard work.
Hard work.
Yeah. And persistence.
Cool. Yes, sir, persistence.
And those are all the major elements that you talked about that built your story and built who you are today. And without any of these right here, there will be no Tito Ortiz.
No, for sure. The quad Ds.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Quad Ds.
Quad Ds. I like that. Hey, you just made
I'll take 5% of that when it comes out.
Because you call it the 4 Ds, but the quad Ds. I like that. So that one is yours and that one is yours.
Thank you, sir.
You know, and I don't know if Rick is gonna ask you what you guys. What?
Yeah. But I was going to steal my thunder here.
My bad.
No, usually we wrap it up like this, Tito. Man, we appreciate your time. Appreciate you just sharing your story. I believe the listeners heard a different side of you that they've never heard before, from behind the cage, you know, from behind the media, just really seeing the true heart of Tito Ortiz. And we truly appreciate just your story and sharing that with us. So, you know, one last question that we always like to ask all of our guests is, you know, seeing where you are now, you know, and you look back, you kind of reflected a lot during the story. You look back to that 5-year-old kid, the 7-year-old kid, you know, what messages you can just take them for 2 seconds or 2 minutes and say, hey, Tito or Jacob at that time, you know, what would you share with them?
I think that respect value is the hugest thing. Is having respect for others, to treat people the way you want to be treated. Mm-hmm. How do you want to be treated? How do you want to be perceived by other people? Mm-hmm. And I think that's really, really important because at the end of the day, so many kids in general are expected. They expect things. They expect this is the way it should be. Mm-hmm. No, it's the way you're going to make it. And I look back and I tell my kids now is hard work pays off, plain and simple. And my kids see it. I see it I've seen it through my life and I see it through other people's lives. And there's other fans that have been around my career over the last 20 years and they were like 300 pounds and all of a sudden they're down to like 205 and they're like, Tito, I worked hard because you told me to. Mm-hmm. And it's good to see those things because it keeps me grounded. Yeah, it makes me understand that, you know what, as being a human being in the society that we live in now, it's tough to be a athlete or an actor or just a businessman in general, because you're expected to do so much, but people don't see the hard times that we really go through.
Correct.
Because as a fighter, it's a lonely sport because it's only me. When I go to bed at night, like I say, I brush my teeth and look in the mirror and I ask myself, have I done something good today? Have I done something to give back? Yeah. And I think if there is a God, or, if there is a higher power and so forth, I think we need to be responsible for our own actions, take responsibility for our own actions, and don't leave it to somebody else saying, well, God didn't want me to do that. No, it's yourself. You got to take responsible for your own actions. Yeah. And I've done that through my whole life. Yeah. And there's been times I've asked for a little bit of power, asked for a little bit of strength. Through the things. But once I got through those things, I understood that, it was me that made those things happen. I could have made a choice of that left turn of being with my buddy and doing a 20-year sentence in prison, or that left wrong turn of staying into drugs. Yeah. There was 3 choices in my life: dead, in prison, or where I am right now. I'm in a damn good place, and I'm very, very thankful. Absolutely. I'm sitting with 2 great men. I appreciate you guys who give me an opportunity to all the listeners and viewers to see who I truly am, man. I'm a respectful, honest American that works hard, and I dedicate myself, my life, every single day to my kids, to the sport of mixed martial arts, and just being a human being and an American. And that's the right way to live. Absolutely.
Oh, man. Absolutely. Hey, listeners, we have no more to say because everything was laid out right here. Tito, once again.
Yes. Sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, good stuff. I appreciate you guys' time, man. Thank you. Right on.
Appreciate you.
Sure.
All right.
Right on.
So, listeners, travelers, thank you again for joining us. This concludes another episode of the Success Journey Show. We'll be with you next time, the same place on the Success Journey Show.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.